One common thing stopping many people from creating a YouTube channel and making their first video is that they feel that they need a lot of expensive gear and equipment when this couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. Most of these professional pieces of equipment are very complex and will take a long time to gain a solid foundation of, and it can honestly deter people from pursuing YouTube and to continue creating YouTube videos. You don't want to be overwhelmed with a bunch of different options and settings that you're not even sure what they mean, but one of the most simple and common cameras is the one right inside of your phone. Many people already know how to use this, and with how technology is progressing these days, most of these cameras are actually really good. I have started and pretty much only used my iPhone for making all the content on my YouTube channel and what I feel has been relatively quality content as well. So in this video, I'm going to show you my setup and my step-by-step process as to how I make my videos using my iPhone. And if you're ready for that, let's get into it. If you're new to this channel and we haven't met before, welcome. My name's Nathan, and on this channel, I do everything tech related, from reviews, unboxings, tips and tricks. And if that sort of stuff interests you, then don't forget to subscribe down below, as I have plenty more coming in the future. And so with that being said, my first step into making any sort of YouTube video is writing a script. So the script writing process is where I do all of my research on the topic I'm going to be talking about in that video, as well as it gives me a place to write down all my thoughts and to put them into a paragraph form, and it helps me really set up like the timeline and formatting of the video itself. So the application I use for script writing is called Notion, and what's great about this application is that it's free for a single person, and also it syncs up between all of your devices. So I have it on my laptop, I have it on my iPad, my phone, and so I don't always have to be at home typing up my script. If I get an idea or a thought for a new video, then if I'm on the go, I just put it right into my phone on the app and it syncs up automatically between all of them, and I really do like that about this program. But the script writing process is very important to each video because it really helps you build a flow to your videos, and it also ensures that you don't miss anything that you meant to say beforehand, as long as you get all your thoughts out into the script before. So I'm not going to give a super in-depth tutorial of Notion, as I'm still pretty new to it and I'm still learning stuff every day about it. But I do go a little more in-depth onto how I actually use Notion and my kind of process I have for making each video in a video I did before, and I will link that down in the description if you're interested in it. So as I'm writing my script, I usually have an idea of how I want the video to be formatted, how I want me to be sitting in the room, the types of B-roll shots I'm going to put into it. And so after I finish my script, then I get into setting up the framing of the shot. So since I'm in my dorm room, I only have limited options as to where I can actually face and film myself in the room. So I either film myself towards or away from my desk, or in a couple videos I film myself at an angle from the side of the desk. But when I have that set down, then I go to setting up my lighting for the shot. So I only have one light, but it's a pretty bright one. I have the Eco softbox lighting kit that I found on Amazon for around $35 at the time. This comes with a tripod stand that has two different extension points, so it can get very tall for you. It has the softbox, which is where the light bulb can screw into, and the light bulb is included. And this light bulb has different brightness settings as well as 3 different colors. There's a white, a cold, and a warm, and I usually leave it on warm as I feel like it just kind of like brings out like my skin tones and the colors in my room more so than the cold would. There's also a remote that comes with the kit, as well as like a little film to put over the softbox, and it really just like softens and kind of like disperses the light so it's not so like aggressive on me. And I usually put this at a slight angle up to me and then tilt it down, and I usually leave it like right on the side of my desk. So I recently just started doing this. I got like a $2 little whiteboard and I tape it to the other side of my desk, and because I only have one light, I only have one light source coming towards me. So in past videos, it was creating like a very harsh shadow on this side of me, but with this whiteboard, it now reflects some of that light onto the other side of me, and I've noticed that it softens the shadows on this side of me. It's nothing fancy, and this light is definitely bright enough, and I like how it looks, so until I get a new one, this is kind of like my lighting situation for now. But I do also like to add different colored lights in my background, so I have 3 different kind of LED Govee lights that all connect through the Govee app. I have the Govee TV strip connected to the TV behind me. I usually set that to one color. And then I have the Govee ambient light desk lamp. That one I really love. It's so portable and little, and it's actually really bright. And then there's just so many different kind of colors and like effects that you can put it onto. But if I'm facing away from my desk, then I have the Govee LED light bars behind my monitor, and that's also just like a really good like gradient rainbow effect that I like to use on those. So once when I have my lighting all set up, then I usually go to the audio now. And so I used to use the Boya lavalier mic that I got on Amazon for around 20 bucks a couple months ago, and I used it for like my first 10 or so videos. So this lavalier mic would plug into my iPhone through a lightning adapter, and then it would come up through my shirt and I would kind of hook it onto my collar. I could never really find the right spot. It did the job, but it was definitely just blown out my audio. And so one of my good friends, Jared, he actually like watched my videos and he noticed my audio was like that. And he was kind enough to let me use one of his mics that he is not using anymore. So now I'm using a SonarWorks Reference 4 mic, and it plugs into a audio interface that he actually let me use as well. It connects through an XLR 3-pin jack, and I really should have a cable for it, but I just don't have one right now. So I plug the mic right into the audio interface and I put it on top of my desk shelf facing me, and I do try to get as close as I can while still like keeping the frame of the shot that I want. So now since this mic is an external audio source, I can't just hook it up to my phone and record from there. I actually have to record it through software, and that software I use is Audacity. So Audacity is a free software and it's very easy to use, and I know like there's different better softwares out there, but kind of on a budget right now, and this seems to work for me. It's very easy to start recording and then upload it to OneDrive, where I then download it to my iPad, where I'm able to sync up the audios. What I've learned very quickly is that better camera quality will not make a decent video great, but bad audio quality will make a great video just decent. So definitely invest in some audio. I'm really glad that he's letting me use this for the meantime, but that is kind of like my audio setup that I use. So once I have my audio all set up, now it comes to setting up the camera itself. So depending on where I want to film myself, I either use a gooseneck mount that I hook up to the top of my desk facing away from the desk, or I use a standard tripod behind me where I'm sitting right now facing the desk. Once I have my mount all set up, I will then place my iPhone into the mount itself, and I'll start taking some test videos to make sure I got the angle I want, the height I want, and that I'm centered in the shot. And so a pro tip, if you're filming with an iPhone and you have an Apple Watch as well, you can actually go to the camera app on your Apple Watch, and when you open up the app on the iPhone and the watch, they sync up and you're able to see whatever your iPhone's seeing. So I don't have to like second guess myself to make sure that I'm centered in the shot or where I want to be. You can also press the play and pause button on the Apple Watch itself, and it's really just a nice, useful little thing that you can use if you have both devices. So I don't use this very often, but sometimes I will use my iPad for different types of shots, especially like in my last video, I did a phone case review, so my iPhone was in the case and I just can't take a video of that with the same iPhone. So I use my iPad for that, and sometimes I'll actually put it into like a third angle for different types of shots. So I'm very lucky to have the iPad as well. And so I ended up getting an iPad tripod mount called iPow. It's about $12 on the Amazon store. It's very reliable and I like it. It kind of secures the iPad into place, but this is just something that I have had to invest in myself, because just one single camera for my types of videos doesn't always cut it, and I'm just very lucky that I have the iPad. So once I have the A-roll filmed, I now go to B-roll filming. So I like to take 2 to 3 different shots of whatever I'm talking about in the video to really just kind of change up the angle and to also keep the viewer engaged. And I usually take my time with these shots, make them nice and slow, kind of cinematic looking. Since I don't say exactly everything on my script and I kind of free talk a little bit about each bullet point I want to talk about, from here I will export all the clips from B-roll and A-roll and the audio into my iPad and then into LumaFusion, where I start video editing. If you want a little more about my video editing process, then check out that same video link down below with the Notion one. I kind of go over LumaFusion a little more as to why it's my go-to editing application. So from here, I then splice up the A-roll and I put everything I want into like one solid timeline with the flow I want, the words I want, and I kind of cut out all like the stutters or the kind of mess ups, anything in between that people don't need to see. So then I start importing all the B-roll that I do have, and then afterwards I will go back and shoot more B-roll at the places that I feel need it. Any places with just long A-roll clips, I usually like to fill up with some sort of B-roll or something to like keep the viewer engaged. So once I'm done editing my video, which really does take the longest amount of time, I then go to export it to my saved photos, and then I upload it to YouTube. And then while all that's happening, I start planning out the time codes for the video, my video description, and I start making my thumbnail for the video. So that is it for this video. I kind of gave you a rundown of my whole setup and my YouTube video making process. And I really hope that you can kind of gain some little tips and tricks that will help you as well. So far, I've pretty much only used my iPhone for filming all of my YouTube videos, and it's done me very well. But in the near future, I do plan on getting my first mirrorless camera, and I'm super excited for that. It's gonna make things so much easier to get two different angles of, and I really do think it's gonna make my videos look a little more professional. And it's also just something new for me to learn, and I'm really excited to get it. So I really wanted to make this video for any new smaller YouTube channels out there, or people thinking about starting YouTube and really don't know what to get. There's really not much you need to get. My total equipment cost that I have, minus my audio system I'm borrowing from my friend, right around $100. Nothing crazy. You can do it with just your iPhone. I know it's nerve-wracking at the start. I was very nervous to start making my first YouTube videos, but I believe in you. You got it. You just got to make that first video and go for it, and who knows where it could take you from there. So that's going to be it for the video. If you learned something new or if you enjoyed the content, then don't forget to subscribe down below and also like the video, as it helps me out a lot. And with that being said, have a great day everyone, and cheers.